Hi and welcome to Ambrosia. My name is Bhavya Desai and today is all about the Ronde Ugar Handcrafted Rum. Now this rum comes from a company called Ugar Sugar Works and they've been in the sugar business for almost about 75 years. And as you might know that it's a very common practice for any businesses who are in sugar to always diversify or extend themselves into ENA production. Now, of course, because of that, they do have a portfolio of spirit products, but this is their first rum product, which is obviously called Ronde Ugar Classic Matured Handcrafted Rum. Now, this is priced at rupees 1300 in Goa for a 750 ml bottle, and of course, it comes at a ABP value of 42.8%. Now, this price puts it in a premium segment, and the reason is because when it probably goes on to the other markets, it might be more expensive. Currently, it's only available in Goa and Karnataka. There's, of course, plans to launch into other states soon. So, in this video, I'm of course going to review this because it's the first exclusive review of this rum. So, let's get started. Now, I know what you're thinking. By looking at the name, you're thinking that is this an international brand? To be very honest, I also actually thought that this might be an international brand when I heard the name Ronde Ugar for the first time. But honestly, this is 100% Indian handcrafted rum and it comes from the region called Ugar, which actually is a erstwhile princely state of Sangli on the west region. Now, this comes from the border of Maharashtra and Karnataka, which is very rich when it comes to sugar cultivations. And this is where the distillery also is based, and that's the reason why it gets its name as Ugar. Now, of course, Ronde Ugar, Ronde has been added to give it a little bit more of flair, as you can understand, and that's where the name comes from, Ronde Ugar Classic Matured Handcrafted Rum. Now, apart from the name, there are a few other important and interesting things about this rum. And the first of which is that this is actually made from cane spirits and not molasses. Now, this is a very big plus because in India, most of the rums are actually made out of molasses. In fact, not just rums, even whiskies are made out of molasses. Now, these technically don't really qualify as rums in an international market because ideally in the international market, rums usually are made out of grapes. Now, what's special about this is actually mixed with 3 to 5 year old matured rums and cane spirits, which has become a very good trend in the market. A good example of that is Camikara Rum, of course, which is doing fantabulously well in the market. So this is mixed with a 5 year old matured rum and cane spirits, which ideally should make it pretty smooth. And that to me is very interesting. The reason is because any spirit or any matured rum which is aged about 5 years in India is actually a lot more when it comes to the international markets. Now, the another interesting thing about this is the moniker on top. When you look at him, you actually think that is this some international figure that is being projected or kept on this bottle? But actually, the interesting part is that this is Kanoji Angre, who was naval commander and used to patrol that belt. He was actually known to be a very skilled navy chief. So how is this rum made? It is actually made using, of course, cane spirits and mixing matured rums, and it is aged and mellowed slowly into oak wood cask, which obviously provides its interesting taste. Now, when the time is right, the manufacturers say that they also add spices to it in order to provide its unique taste. And because it's been aged, so I'm really hoping that it's going to be very smooth, but that I can only tell you when I nose and taste it. This is manufactured and bottled at the Ugar Sugar Works distillery in Belgaum, Karnataka. See, of course, like most of the rums that you see in the market, this comes in the canister and they've gone in with the maroon color, and it's quite interesting. There is a nice texture and there's a nice print obviously onto this, a nice goldenish maroonish color with the name on the side. You obviously have a little bit of information about the rum as well, which is good to see. I like the bottle shape. The bottle shape is very distinctive and reminds me of monkey shoulder. So let's move on to the nosing now. Corked rum, wow, really nice. Let's hear that pop. That pop is so important. A slow, small pop, nothing which is extraordinary. Let's just open up and sit. Yep, a nice ambery gold color, which is always good to see. Nice swirl. Definitely smooth. Seems extremely smooth. The sweetness is more of like sort of a vanilla sort of a sweetness, or at least the aroma that I'm getting. Yeah, definitely a clear hint of vanilla. No spices. I'm not really getting any sort of spices, but yes, a nice deep nose, and it actually opens up your nostrils quite a bit. So that's really good. Okay, very interesting. Number one, as predicted, it definitely is smooth. You really get that nice refined feeling when the spirit is actually in your mouth and you're actually just trying to flavor or sample it. The palate is also slightly buttery. I can still feel a little bit of texture lingering around on my palate. A nice warm rum. You can actually get a little bit of warmness, and although you can't really taste the spice when you're having the sip, when you have it, you actually immediately get that spiciness, and it's not extremely overbearing. It's actually nice and relaxed. A nice long finish. I can still feel the finish in the back of my throat. Nice warmness as well with a little bit of hint of spice. So that's good. You know, as potent or as interesting as the aroma of vanilla or the sweetness is, it really doesn't translate onto your texture and your taste when it hits you. Yes, for sure. So when you're nosing it, then you definitely get that vanilla. But when you take that sip, you get that little bit of sweetness and a little bit of that flavor initially, and then immediately it goes into the spiciness, the warm feeling, quite smooth. 42.8% ABP, and it genuinely just like really goes down. So, what do I finally think about the Ronde Ugar classic handcrafted matured rum? Honestly, priced at rupees 1300, I definitely feel that it is a premium product. Honestly, it is not something which is going to be cheap, especially when it goes to other states, then it'll probably be more expensive. But the makers are very clear about what they are trying to make. This is a small batch handcrafted rum, which means you're paying the price for that quality spirit. And of course, because it's matured with 5-year-old spirits, and with cane spirits, you can definitely get that sweetness. You can definitely get that nice quality spirit. Of course, I would have been very happy had this been more competitively priced. If the price would have been a little bit around 1,000 or 900 bucks, then I think this would have literally flown off the shelves. But of course, everybody has their own strategy, and that's probably the reason why they've priced it accordingly. But having said that, I definitely think this is a good rum, good product. You can surely try it out. Let me know in the comments if you got your hands onto this, if you obviously had it in Goa or in Karnataka. I don't know when it'll hit the other states as well, but maybe soon. As usual, like, share, and subscribe. Do follow us on Instagram as well. And very, very important is, until next time, drink responsibly.